Y'all, this is the most important video I've ever made.
I hope you're happy. I hope you're happy now.
This is the most important. My trash smells bad. Sorry, I have to take my trash out real quick. It smells really bad. Okay, I actually didn't take the trash out. All I did was just tie the top of it so that it doesn't smell bad. Where was I? Oh, I hate musical theater. And I think, okay, people are like, why do you gotta hate on something that somebody else loves? And I think that's fair. But I also think that, like, you can have an opinion that you hate something, but you need to be able to justify it. If I was just here being like, musical theater's bad, I hate it, it's not good, that's not good enough. You need to be able to justify your opinion so that people can combat it. I think, I also think that, like, okay, I want to interrogate my own bias. Like, I want to know, like, is it valid for me to hate musical theater? Because look, I know my audience. I assume you're all some sort of genderqueer, homosexual. You're like a shut-in, you don't leave much. I get it. I see you, you see me. I see you. That's who we are. And I know a lot of shut-ins love musical theater. All of my friends are shut-ins who just stay at home and are sad. Been real depressed lately. So, like, I know my audience, and I know people watching this probably they like musical theater. And I think you can enjoy what you want. And if you have any criticism with what I say, please leave it in the comments below. Not only because I want to know and I want to talk to you, but also it boosts my engagement. This is my Venmo. I actually had an entirely separate video I was working on that was much more analytical. It was about the female gaze and how I don't think it exists. Because, like, the male gaze is like this whole thing, and like, but I think it comes from a misunderstanding of what the male gaze actually is. I don't know. It was really in-depth video, and I said, fuck that. We're talking about musical theater. We're talking about how could a pastor, orphan, son of a whore, and a Scotsman. Hamilton? Hate Hamilton.
Look around, look around.
Like, are you serious? Hamilton? It's a rap musical about a bunch of people who enslaved people, and they're rapping. I'm not throwing away my... That's crazy. Hey. That's crazy. Actually, my best friend is Nevaeh. Hi, Nevaeh. How you doing? She's my best friend. That's my best friend.
Being in the bottom two against my best friend, that's my best friend. That's my best friend.
My biggest fear is dancing in front of other people.
My biggest fear is dancing in public.
But my friend Nevaeh, I was having this was like an hour conversation about musical theater and Hamilton. And I was talking about how much I hate musical theater and I hate Hamilton, and she got upset. Like, I don't have any friends. I have very few friends, but she got really upset at me because, well, I was telling her basically that, like, she shouldn't like what she likes, and she thought I was so pretentious, and she was getting, like, angry at me. So, like, I don't know, she thought I was pretentious, and, like, maybe I am. Like, maybe I am, like, how I feel, like, okay, my feelings towards musical theater and people who like musical theater isn't passive. It's, like, vitriolic. I have, like, disdain and disgust. And I like, ew, Michelle.
Ew, Michelle.
I have deep contempt and cringe for almost all of musical theater and people who like it. And I feel like that's probably a little bit over the line. I probably need to, like, rein it back a little bit because those feelings are a little bit much. And you know what the fucking gag is? The real gag? The gag of the matter? One of my favorite movies of all time is Cabaret. I love, from 1972 with Liza Minnelli. Hold up. I have this shit on vinyl. Look, I love this movie, and I love this musical. I'm gonna be referencing it the entire time. So it's not like I think every single musical is bad. I love Cabaret. I know everything about Cabaret. And you know what the real fucking gag is? I hate musical theater, right? I think musical theater is cringe. Do you know what I'm good at? Puppetry. Give me a second. I won a regional title for puppetry. Hold up. This is Gizmo, my puppet. I don't have any arm rods. I'm pretty good at matching how the puppet talks to how I talk, right? I love puppets so much. I have a regional title. I love puppets. This is Gizmo. He's very precious to me. All right, girl, let's get started.
Money makes the world go around.
So people go like, why are they singing? Like, why are they singing? And people kind of have like a disconnect. They can't get into it because they're like, well, why would these bitches be singing? And then people who are defending musicals go like, well, it's a musical. Of course they're singing. You don't ask yourselves, well, why are they filming this movie? And I don't know. I kind of disagree with that. I'm on the side of, bitch, why are they singing? And let me explain. I think in order to, like, buy the fact that it's a musical, you have to have a certain suspension of disbelief. And I think, oh, also, I bleached my hair. What do you think? I think it's cool. I think, like, a suspension of disbelief, I kind of want to compare it to found footage. Like, found footage horror movies. I love found footage horror. A lot of them aren't good, but I still enjoy that frame. Like Paranormal Activity. Have you seen the movie Paranormal Activity? It's kind of one of the movies that made found footage, like, famous. But, like, the point of Paranormal Activity is, like, the guy in the movie he's trying to catch proof of like a spirit in his house. So that's why there's cameras everywhere. It makes sense that there's cameras everywhere in really weird positions because, well, of course, he's trying to find. We already bought the framing device. Same thing with something like The Taking of Deborah Logan, great horror movie, or Lake Mungo. Both of these horror movies, they're like a documentary gone awry. They're trying to make a documentary about something and then it turns supernatural. So that's why the framing device of found footage is in place. Like, there's this franchise called VHS, and they do like anthology horror. So like each movie has a couple different short films in it, and they're all found footage. And in VHS 2, there's this short film called like A Day at the Park, and it's about like a zombie outbreak. But like it's this guy, he's on his bicycle, and he has a GoPro on. So like he runs into the zombie, and then the zombies like attack him, so he becomes a zombie, but he has a GoPro on. So the entire movie is from the perspective of the GoPro. That's a really neat like way of creating this story. And it makes sense that there would be found footage because he has the GoPro. You bought it. You bought the framing device. There's another one later on, which I still enjoy, but it's not as like, I don't buy it as fiercely. It's called Slumber Party Alien Abduction. And the majority of it also takes place like on a GoPro, but it's a GoPro on the back of a dog. Like a bunch of kids, they like have a dog and they put a GoPro on the back of him. So like you see things from the perspective of the dog, which I think is an interesting and novel idea. I enjoy that it's like, I've never seen anything like that before, but I also don't necessarily buy it. Like, I don't think the dog would enjoy having that GoPro on. Like, I don't know. I can poke holes in it. And I also think it makes sense for horror to be found footage. Like, it wouldn't make sense for there to be like a found footage comedy. Like, that doesn't really work. Or like a found footage romance. It makes sense for horror as a genre because it kind of enmeshes the viewer like in the experience more fiercely. And I think like it's similar to musical theater. That's kind of the comparison I'm trying to make. In musical theater, like I love Cabaret. The Cabaret, the musical, they're doing numbers because you're watching like a cabaret show from the 30s Weimar Republic, like before Nazi Germany. And like it's when you watch it, you're like, well, of course they're singing. Of course they're dancing. I'm watching a cabaret show. That's what a cabaret show is. And I think also I can suspend my disbelief a little bit more for like something like Wicked or something like Labyrinth or something Wizard of Oz or Disney princess movies. They're so fantastical already that I already have to like suspend my disbelief so much. I'm like, well, yeah, there's a talking dragon. Of course they're gonna be singing. What? Like the lions are already talking. Of course they're gonna sing about how they just can't wait to be king. It's little puppets, ghouls, and goblins. They're gonna be singing. It makes sense to me.
Dance, magic dance, dance, magic dance.
Now, like with like Wicked, I can suspend my disbelief. I still don't like how they sing or how they act, but I'm gonna put a pin in that. I'll get that in part 2. So I understand how, like, in certain stories, the framing makes sense for it to be musical. But, like, you lose me at the 9/11 musical.
One plane, then another, and then 9.
That's a real musical.
I look up at the TVs and realize it's a national moment of silence.
You lose me at rapping about the founding fathers.
The $10 founding father without a father.
Like, why? Why is this a musical? Why is this a musical? Not why are they singing? Why are they singing? Because it's a musical. Duh. That's not the question. The question is, why is this story a musical? Like, outside, like for Cabaret, because I kind of use this as like the perfect musical. Outside of it being like you're in a cabaret show, so it makes sense they're doing numbers. It makes sense because it's like you're telling a story about this entertainment. You're telling a story about this nightlife. You have to show the singing and dancing. And also the point of Cabaret is you're supposed to view yourselves as an audience in 30s Germany. That's the point. You're supposed to like sit there and watch this like period piece. And the point of the musical is that it starts out so dazzling, so showy of Willkommen and bienvenue. And then we're the audience being dazzled. But it kind of creeps up on us because what the musical is about distracting yourselves from an impending genocide. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube. The musical is about distracting yourselves from impending horror by just trying to tune it out, turn away. And then at the end of the musical, a giant mirror would pop up and the audience would have to look at themselves as the musical was ending. to say that you are a part of the problem. You are trying to distract yourselves from the horrors of the world by just being entertained.
It'll all work out. It's only politics. What has that got to do with us?
It creates this cool distancing effect, the alienation effect. It's by this guy named Brecht. He yeah, I can be pretentious. I can say Brecht. Brecht. And the show itself, Cabaret, is entertaining above all, but at the end of it, it reminds you that you are an audience member. So lulling you into this sense of safety just so that by the end of the musical, it can shatter that illusion. It makes sense if that's how you want to tell the story, for it to be a musical. That's how it lulls you into this sense of safety. The story of Cabaret, could not be told in any other medium. It could only be told the way it is through song and dance. It could only be told as a musical. It wouldn't be as impactful if it was just a series of photos. It wouldn't be as impactful if it was a short story. It could still be a good story, but it works best as a musical. It's there's a song in it called If You Could See Her, and it's when the musical starts to get a little bit dicey. And it's about the MC, he does this whole song and dance with a monkey, or a big gorilla, and he's singing, "If you could see her through my eyes, you wouldn't think she was so different at all. I love her so much." And you're the audience, you're laughing at the fact that he's with a gorilla, be like, "I love this gorilla so much." And then the song ends horrifyingly.
She wouldn't look Jewish at all.
She wouldn't look Jewish at all. That is because you spent this whole time just laughing, kikiing, and then you find out, oh, no, this is a metaphor for Judaism, for Jewish people. The twee, earnest nature of the MC, it could only be told through musical.
Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome.
It's like you're like a frog being boiled in water. Do you know that phrase? It's like if you put a frog in hot water, it'll jump out. But if you put a frog in a pot of water and you boil it, it'll stay in there because it doesn't realize that things are getting worse and worse and worse and worse. That's what Cabaret does. Now, why the fuck is there a what is experiencing in one little frame that can be archived? Nothing else can do it in that same way. Stand-up makes you laugh. It's disarming in that way. If you want to cause somebody to hear the truth, but disarm them while they're doing it, you make them laugh. Stand-up. And then a musical tells a story through song and dance. So to me, a story, for it to justify being a musical, it needs to need song and dance. Like Mean Girls. Why is there a Mean Girls musical? What does it being a musical add to the overall story and aesthetic? I don't think it does. See, I keep using Cabaret as the perfect musical because I just know so much about it. So I want to kind of drift away from that. And I want to compare and contrast two separate musicals that came out kind of recently that I think have a lot in common, but are worth picking apart. Meryl Streep was in two movies. She was in The Devil Wears Prada and she was in Death Becomes Her. Those have recently become musicals. Now, I'm going to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of both of the musicals, but I enjoy one more than the other. But I love both of the movies. So, The Devil Wears Prada, right? Technically speaking, from The Devil Wears Prada is not a great movie. It's not a great movie. The movie itself is just sort of generic. It's fine. There's nothing here or there. But Meryl Streep, her portrayal of Miranda Priestley, the editor-in-chief at, like, what is it, Vogue magazine? I don't know. I forgot the name of the magazine. Her portrayal of that character is one of the best characters put on cinema in the past few decades.
You go to your closet and you select, I don't know, that lumpy blue sweater, for instance. And it's sort of comical how you think that you've made a choice that exempts you from the fashion industry when in fact you're wearing a sweater that was selected for you by the people in this room from a pile of stuff.
I'm sorry. Meryl Streep's Miranda Priestley is impeccable. But that character is what carries the movie. So if you ruin that character, the entire story just kind of falls apart. It's not very good. And Miranda Priestley can only exist on film. That character can't exist in theater. It can't even really exist in real life. Okay, here's what I mean by that. If you haven't seen the movie, basically what you need to know is Meryl Streep, she's the editor-in-chief at this magazine, and she is cold, but so smart and has so much power. But she's also very subtle. Everything that she does is deliberate, but quiet and subdued. That's kind of what makes her interesting to watch.
You can see beyond what people want and what they need, and you can choose for yourself.
She has so much power, and every slight movement she makes of her body and her face, all of it is deliberately positioned in a way to put her in a position of authority. And that's what's great about camera work, is that, like, if you think of an emotion, the camera will catch that emotion in your face, because the faces have blown up to large proportions. So Miranda Priestley's character is so cool, so powerful, but can only exist on screen. And I think trying to make The Devil Wears Prada into a musical, it misses the point. It misses what made the movie special. Meryl Streep, because when you're on stage, you have to overact. Everything has to be bigger. You can't be small and demure and subdued. That just doesn't work. So in the musical, Miranda Priestley loses all power, and it doesn't feel intimate. That's kind of what made it feels so special, was that you were, like, intimate and close in this, like, behind the scenes fashion world. Like, no one gets to see the locked door behind fashion. And inviting it into a musical theater setting, it doesn't feel intimate. It doesn't. Is the singing great? Yes. Is the dancing great? Yes. Is the costume design beautiful? Yes. If you like it, more power to you. If you like Hamilton, I'm working on it. Okay, now let's contrast that with Death Becomes Her, another movie that Meryl Streep was in. And let me tell you, I love Death Becomes Her. I think this movie is incredible. It is so campy. It is incredible.
You brought this on yourself.
She's dead!
She is. These are the moments that make life worth living.
Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn, they both play these women who, like, hate each other and are fighting over superficial things like beauty and age and youth, money, men. It's very superficial, but, like, intentionally so. And the acting is so stupid.
On guard, bitch.
It's supposed to be campy. Like, and they both take this potion that, like, makes them live forever and be eternally youthful, but they have to, like, take care of one another, and if they don't, then, like, their body, like, starts falling apart, and by the end of the movie, they're all, like, held together by just, like, duct tape in a dream.
Let me see what kind of a mess you've made of yourself, Nick. Oh, yeah. You're all runny.
It's really funny. I love Death Becomes Her. If you haven't seen it, please go see it. And I actually kind of knew of this musical because, do you know the audio on TikTok that was trending a few months ago? It's like, that was
rude. That was pretty fucking rude.
And I thought that was catchy or whatever, but I wanted to, like, I wanted to investigate this. So I went and, like, watched some clips of it. And there's this one time, oh, it's so fierce, where Meryl Streep, her character, she plays Madeline Ashton, and then on the stage play, the actress playing Madeline Ashton, she's singing, and then she, like, reveals her outfit to reveal this, like, leopard print costume that is the same exact pattern as the couch that she's sitting on. It's this really funny sight gag.
How's Helen in the sack? Mad. Just curious.
But then on top of that, she's singing, like, in this twee, earnest musical theater, like, hi, you know, like how musical theater bitches sing. And it's just kind of like a hat on top of a hat of, like, corniness. But that's the point. Death Becomes Her, the movie, was already so silly and was already so over the top that while I don't particularly like the acting style of the musical, I don't like the singing of the musical, it's not my thing, I think that it adds to it. I think that having this woman sing with this sight gag, it is actually like, it's something that you couldn't do in normal, like without singing. You could have the same sight gag and it would be really funny, but the singing just adds this extra va-va-voom. If you want it, I got it, you va-va. So I guess like in conclusion with this first part, I don't think it makes sense for most musicals to be a musical. Why is this story told with the art form of musical theater? It doesn't make sense. Why is there a Back to the Future musical? I live right next to the Pantages Theater in Hollywood. If you want to like know where I live right here. It's too expensive. I'm moving out. Oh, I'm moving to the middle of the woods. I'm gonna actually build a cabin. It's crazy. But that's where I live in Hollywood. And all of the musicals, I see them come up on the marquee. Why is there a Back to the Future musical? Why is there a Back to the... Who is this made for? Who is the Back to the Future musical made for? White gay men. Let's go to part 2.
My name is Elder Price.
So I think this is when it becomes less like me trying to be empirical and like analytical. This is more of my own emotion that I think, I don't know, I think it shares with a lot of other people. I hate how people in musical theater sing and how people in musical theater act. I can't stand that style. I'm a big fan of the Book of Mormon, but you're also like, while watching the Book of Mormon, you're like invited to laugh at that performance style. I don't know. But I think it's because we have grown up in the age of cinema, of seeing TVs. In film, you want to see acting that is real. You want realism. You want realistic. Like, old Hollywood acting was, it came from theater acting. So like, if you look at this old clip of Nosferatu, the way they're acting is so over the top because that's how they act in theater. That's how they act in theater. Now, if you look at new Nosferatu, it is so much more like real and visceral and dirty.
I felt you crawling like a serpent in my body.
It is not me.
It feels, there's a sense of realism to it. Obviously, it's over the top and manufactured, but it feels more real. It feels more intimate. Like, we'll buy a fantasy world. We'll buy something that won't ever exist in real life as long as the actors are acting as if that is real. Like, obviously, like, demons and ghouls and shit like that, it's not possessing your daughter and then your son isn't accidentally beheading your daughter. But if that did happen, this is probably how you would act.
Don't you swear at me, you little shit! Don't you ever raise your voice at me! I am your mother! All I do is worry and slave and defend you, and all I get back is that fucking face on your face!
I love Hereditary. I love Toni Collette. I think she's wonderful. Musical theater acting isn't true to life because it can't be true to life. When you're on stage presenting to an audience, you have to overact because people can't see your face. They can't see the micro things. They can't hear the small inflections in your voice. Like, sometimes there's overacting in film, you know? Like, I love, like, John Waters' Pink Flamingos. Kill everyone now.
Condone first-degree murder. Advocate cannibalism. Eat shit.
It's so over the top and so stupid, but it's a deliberate choice because on film you have so much more options and variety in how a person can act. So whatever fits the best for your story, you can choose that acting style. In musical theater, you don't have that same opportunity. So there's no nuance in how people act in musical theater a lot of the time. And not having nuance kind of just comes across as like corny and cringe because it's just this like fake earnest nature that is so overly enthusiastic in musical theater because you have to energy up. It's just so to watch. It's like, bitch, you don't feel like that. And it's weird because modern day performance, we want our modern day performance art to be real. We want our actors, we want their acting to feel like real. We want our singers, where are my background singers?
Where are my background singers?
We want our singers to feel like real. We want them to be relatable on social media. And then we want our like image-based art. We like hold on, I play Magic the Gathering, I'm a nerd. You see the little spider? That's not what a spider looks like. He's really sweet and I love this artwork, but it's not realism because we're okay with our artwork not looking real. We don't need realism in art, which is, okay, historically, it was flip-flop. Historically, we wanted our singing and our acting, like back in Shakespearean days, we wanted overacting. That's what humans wanted to watch. They wanted to see a man dressed like a lady on stage, and like we all know it looks ridiculous, but we want the overacting. Like Shakespearean English isn't how people talked in that time. It's heightened language. But when it came to like image-based, we wanted realism. We wanted real-to-life depictions of nature. And it's switched. It's flip-flopped now, which is really odd. I don't exactly know why. I think probably it's the invention of photography. But like Van Gogh, his artwork, people hated it back in the day. Now people love Van Gogh, but back in the day, that was thought of as like degenerate art. It wasn't thought of as good because image-based art had to be real. And now it's kind of flippy-floppy. So like, I bring this up to say, like, when we see people on stage performing theater, musical theater, the acting isn't believable. And the singing isn't believable. Like, when I hear Billie Eilish sing, I go, that bitch is sad.
I don't wanna talk right now.
If sadness were given a voice, it would sound like that. I try not to kill myself.
I try not to kill myself.
Or like when Lady Gaga sings and she goes, abracadabra, it's so weird and zany and over the top, but we believe it because we're like, well, that's just Gaga. Gaga is weird and zany, and that's who she is as a person. So of course, when she makes art, it's going to reflect that. When Lingua Ignota is singing, we know she's angry.
I don't give a fuck. Just kill him. I am not asking.
How does a bastard, orphan, son of a whore and a Scotsman?
I don't believe that. Because in musical theater, you have to sing. So it feels like they have to sing to get their point across, because all of their words and diction has to enunciate exactly what they're saying so that people can understand them, and it has to be loud so that the people in the back can hear them. So it really only gives you like a very limited range of emotional expression that's all heightened. And microphones nowadays create like a level of intimacy because you can
put the microphone really close to your,
like, you can do that, and it creates this level of intimacy that you can't create on stage. So then there's the question, does music have to be believable? Does acting have to be believable? Well, no, but to me, it feels like a lot of times the singing is there just to function as a way to showcase a person's voice or to carry along some sort of exposition. Like in the Addams Family musical, where she goes, I'm being pulled in a new direction.
And I think that the boy...
In the Addams Family musical, she's Wednesday, the little diva, haha, but then like she falls in love with like a normal person, and she's talking about like her internal struggle that's being changed, and that sort of internal struggle, to me, feels like that wouldn't be sung like you're belting. Like, you don't belt that internal strife. That's not how that works. You don't belt that emotion. It's internal, it's quiet. So I don't think an emotion like that is like apropos for musical theater. It feels like the music and the singing is there to service the story instead of like working in tandem. So like the singing style and the acting style of musical theater, it's like this forced, overly enthusiastic, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed with a veneer of earnestness on top of it that is just cringe. It's just cringe. Like a forced enthusiasm and like earnest nature, like that is cringe. I can't stand that. I think, but you kind of need that to work in certain stories, like the Book of Mormon, okay? The Book of Mormon is some white people shit. That is one of the whitest musicals I've ever seen.
You're too dark, cause God loves Mormons and he wants some more.
That style of singing, it works in like the Book of Mormon. And I think that like earnest, over enthusiastic nature, it works for the Book of Mormon because Mormonism is so cringe, girl. Flop. The flop nature of the Mormon church, that's a video essay. But like the Book of Mormon is supposed to be corny. You're invited to like laugh at the corniness of Mormonism, and you're like laughing at these bitches because it's corny. And that's what's fun about it, is because like I'm okay with you being corny, it just should make sense for it to be corny. In Cabaret, they need to be corny because having the MC be so corny and like forced, it becomes almost like bizarre and scary.
Some people have one people. Some have two. Two ladies.
But a lot of times, to me, it just feels like there's a certain style of acting and singing that has to exist in musical theater in order for it to work, and it feels like you're trying to fit like a square peg in a round hole. Oh, okay. The characters, they don't feel real. They don't feel believable. They feel like representations of character. They feel like caricatures, which is fine if that's what you're trying to do. But don't try and make your musical believable when musical theater can't do that. Why the fuck is there a musical about heathers? Heathers? Girl, why are they singing?
It's a beautiful freaking day.
The Be More Chill musical, don't get me. I'm just Michael in the bathroom. Hate it. Hate it. I hate how, oh my god. To me, it feels that like fans of musical theater are willing to overlook mediocre acting performances, mediocre writing, just so they can get a rewarding song that is enjoyable for them to watch. But that's the gag. I hate most of the songs. It just kind of sounds generic. Like, there's a sound to musical theater. And it's like generic, like, plinky little piano. It's just, ugh. And it works sometimes. Like, the Book of Mormon is kind of like a parody of musical theater to a degree. It kind of exists on the border. But the singing, to me, just sounds generic. It's like, how can we get all these people to start belting? How can we make inoffensive sounding, toothless, generic backtracks that are just there to support the voice? Like The Wicked, whatever. Like, all their voices sound the same. And I don't care. I don't care about that. Are they impressive voices? Yeah, they are impressive. It's good craft. Obviously, they've honed their skills. But it's not a new novel concept. It's like, I like singers that like sing in a way that only they could do. Stop trying to copy Whitney Houston's voice if you can't do Whitney Houston's voice. I don't care. It's impressive that you spent all that time to be able to do that. But to me, that's not art. That's crafts. There's arts and crafts. They're two separate things. Craft is being able to like hone a skill and being very talented at at something. You can hone your singing craft. You can hone your craft of playing guitar. You can hone your acting craft. You can hone your makeup craft. All of that is one thing. And then there's art. Art is creativity. It's creating a new idea. It's the difference between like a photorealistic picture of somebody versus Basquiat. The photorealism is impressive. It's great. But like Basquiat, only he could do that. He created a whole new style. And that's what, to me, is the important part of art. It's like, what can only this person do? What is unique to them? What did they create? That's art. That's what art is. Musicals have insane craft. The singing, technically, is impeccable. The dancing is technically impeccable. All of it is like, you have to give it up for them. They have spent so much time, and that is impressive. And you know what? This is where I'm gonna say my bias is I need to give them their flowers. Musicals are impressive. I'm going to apologize for any harsh words I have said about people who like musical theater. If you view musicals as a celebration of craft, I give it to you. I give it to you because it is a celebration of craft, and that's impressive. But to me, I do not see the artistry. I do not see the individual creativity being represented through the medium of musical theater. Let's bring it back to Cabaret. Cabaret was like directed, produced, let me check. Oh, why was there a... That's so cunty! So Bob Fosse directed Cabaret, and I love a lot of Fosse's work, and he did a lot of musicals. He did, Do You Wanna Have Fun? Hey, Big Spender. You know Big Spender? Okay, he goes 5, 6, 7, 8.
Hey, mister, can I talk to you for a minute?
Got a cigarette for me, Mr. Huh?
Hey, mister, do you speak Spanish?
I can show you a good time.
I I love that because the way he directed the dancing, the way he directed the singing, the set design, the character creation, it's so unique to him. Only he could shape this artifice using the tools of musical theater. And he had his own like style of directing, like of choreography. The way there's a visual aesthetic that only he could create. And while like I obviously don't like a lot of musicals, I love Bob Fosse. I guess I like some musicals. I'm just very picky. But you know why? Because he's an artist and he had a creative vision. Cabaret, the movie, almost didn't get made because he kept such a tight rein on everything because he wanted it to be exactly like how he wanted it to look that they almost scrapped the whole thing. But that's what made it so special because it was an artistic vision that no one else could do. No one else could do it except for Bob Fosse. And look, I prefer creativity over craft. I want what makes it interesting to you. If you're an artist out there, let me start preaching at you. The Lord's talking to me. Lord God, let me whisper. If you're an artist, don't try and be the best. You need to be you. Be you, because only you can be you. If you like musicals, hats off to you, okay? I'll give it to you. But I think that musical theater is a valid artistic medium, but you should only use that artistic medium because it's very specific, very niche. You should only use that artistic medium if it's something that only the medium of musical theater can utilize because they sing weird, they act weird, the music's weird. All of it is so niche to musical theater. So if your story can only be told through the lens of musical, do that. But why the fuck are the founding fathers rapping?
Bastard, orphan.